Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Happiness Chat. In my book, All Battles Aren't Legal, which is basically about my life and death experience and my recovery, there is one chapter titled Chilled. It had to be on my kids, no prizes for guessing. When I was thinking about the title of the chapter on them, I could not think of a word that fit better. In fact, I often think that if they were any cooler, they'd be frozen. So, a very warm welcome to my guest speaker today, Shiv. Hey, Shiv, great to have you here.
Hi, Mom. Good to be here. It feels a little bit unique because we just spoke half an hour back. So this is a different setting, and I'm going to try my best to behave and be all good. So, yeah, looking forward.
Great, great. So, okay, Shiv, this is your chance. Describe Shiv in few lines. I'd love to know more.
uh, Describe Shiv in few lines. I guess I love food, I love sports. Uh, I think I'm a pretty simple guy who just goes about his business. And as I said, I'm a sports lover, and sports is just somehow at the forefront of everything that I do. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, it gets a little weird to describe yourself like that, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Great, great. Yeah, agree with everything that you said.
Okay,
Now
I'm
coming
glad.
now coming to some of the titles that you got in school. Mr.
Okay.
Charming, or was it Prince Charming? I just remember the word charming, or Mr. Popular.
Hmm.
How do you manage to do that?
No. Those are just defaults, I think. There was nothing charming or there was nothing extra popular about me. I just think that I'm a friendly guy and I like talking to people. I think I more often than not try to see the positives in people and kind of ignore the negatives, but never at the cost of doing any harm to myself. So I guess I was just a friendly guy. There was nothing charming or popular or anything like that. Those are just, I think, tags given to the friendliest guy. So that's how I put it.
Wow, very, very well said. Okay, but Shiv, there is one thing which you cannot dispute, because I can have a lot of people on my side on this. That is your popularity with the ladies. I mean, the age group starts from age 10 to 80 plus. I will not get into ladies of your age, girls of your age. That is beyond the scope of this chat. But
Yeah.
whether it is the aunties and grandmoms, what is it with you? I mean, you get along so well with them and effortlessly.
See, I think for me personally, I'm glad that we didn't talk about the girls of my age because frankly, there are none, and there's really not much to brag about over there. But I think when it comes to women, aunties, uncles, men, elders, I don't think I really differentiate too much between gender and age and trying to please people that way as such. I think it's just I'm just able to naturally strike a genuine connect with them without really trying too hard. So maybe sometimes I think one thing I've noticed about ladies is that if you just listen to what they say and you respond to what they are saying, I think that just helps a lot. They're almost like, oh, okay, he actually heard what I said. So I think so. There's nothing. I'm glad if people were to like me, but I don't think there's any kind of major effort from my side. I just try to strike a very genuine connect and I try and be as real as possible and nothing too fake or over the top.
Yeah, Shiv, fake is one word. You just can't do it if you wanted to also.
Yeah, I know.
It just doesn't go. So
I
now
know.
coming to 2020, the year that we are living in, there's only
Yeah.
one word that we hear, and that's COVID. So tell me, how has COVID affected your life?
I think it's been brilliant because for me personally, I mean, it doesn't sound very good because, of course, the world has seen a lot of changes, and people's health has been negatively impacted, and there's been a lot of adverse effects. But personally, for me, I've had the luxury of working from home, and I think it's just given me more time to understand, get a better perspective as to what I want to do, where I want to go, and really no excuses for slipping up, because sometimes jobs get very hectic and you're traveling and it gets tiring. But now working from home, there are no excuses. You got to keep improving. Uh, be it on the work front, be it on even, I mean, personally, I'm a huge fitness uh, fan, I'd say. I'm not a freak because I don't end up exercising that much. And there's nothing much to brag about there as well. But I like keeping myself fit. So, yeah, I think it's just you have time to improve, and you got to use your time well. Touch wood, I still have a job and it's not financially impacted me. So yeah, i'm I'm happy.
Okay, that's great. But you think that this working from home started because of the lockdown situation? You think this is going to stay, or you think it's going to just bounce back next year, Jan?
I think for businesses and entrepreneurs who are smart, they would, if they feel that they are getting better work done from their staff while they're saving out on costs like electricity, rent, I can clearly see this being a more long term process. And I don't know, some people like going to office, they like to get out of the house, they like to socialize. It's going to work. Honestly, it may sound wrong, but I think office is like school for grown up people. You know, you go there, you interact with your colleagues, you have a boss who acts like a teacher, you have a lunch break, a this break, a that break, you end up complaining about that boss. So I think like some people are just very attached to that whole sentiment of going to office. Because I'm very relatively new in the workforce, I really enjoy working from home. I like my peace, I can do it at my own comfort, and I personally hope, fingers crossed, that it's here to stay.
Well, very strict professions, I would say. Even like I've been hearing so many webinars on lawyers and law firms and all. Even now, they have shifted their focus. They are not looking at real estate and so much investment in office. Now it's all about technology. If they feel that the work is getting done, even sitting in your house, that's good. How in your
Yeah.
sporting world they say what matters is the final score. I mean, the fact that you're sitting on your sofa or sitting in your office chair shouldn't make such a difference. So tell me, earlier mental health was associated with the older people, but now we
Yeah.
have youngsters also who are, getting depressed and who are even committing suicide. So what do you think about spreading this awareness about the mental well-being of the younger lot of people?
Yeah, I think I'm glad that you actually brought it up, because I feel like happiness needs to be looked at more from a overall mental health aspect, because that's how I would gauge it. Because otherwise, it's very easy to be happy in short term, sporadic moments. Like, uh, after all, we all have that kid in us. If we are having pizza or ice cream, or we're having candy, we're doing something that we love. If I'm playing cricket for 2 hours, of course I'm very happy at that point. But then what happens after that? I think that's where happiness needs to be looked at as a subject more in the gray. It can't be seen as a very black and white thing. So I'm glad that you brought up mental health, because I personally feel that's a very important topic, and people need to talk about how they're feeling. When it comes to youngsters or older people, I don't honestly see too much of a difference. I feel that uh, people at different ages, different walks of life face different challenges. Teenagers going through adolescence, high school pressure, bullying, and at the same time, there could be an older lady, older man going through something with their kids, their children. So it's not really good to generalize and stereotype it. I'd say we all face our own challenges, and that's how I look at it. But when it comes to younger people, yeah, I mean, with us, I feel the issues are a little bit more different because we are caught up in the superficial world of social media and this whole digital second avatar, that sort of life that people are trying to create for themselves online. I think it does impact us more in that way, but different people have different issues and there are always different ways of dealing with it. So I wouldn't want to keep it very age specific, so as to say.
Mm, true, very true. I think there's one word that is associated with you since you were 4 or 5 years old is cricket. I mean,
Yeah,
I've got pics when you and the bat are almost the same size. Okay.
yeah.
So you pursued it, you played under 19 for UAE in 2014. Do you have some like memorable moments or some experiences from that to share with us?
Um, I mean, of course, the Under 19 World Cup is a great platform for a lot of young budding cricketers, and you see people making it really big from there. And a lot of popular cricketers have now, that, okay, he played this Under 19 World Cup with that player. So, yeah, I have a few cool names to at least say that I've played with XYZ. But I think overall, if you ask anybody who plays sports, nobody really looks at records and all that kind of stuff that, oh, this is my cricketing CV or this is my sports CV. I think we just, when we're playing, we're really happy, we're just enjoying ourselves, we remember runs, wickets, etc., etc. So yeah, I'd say that no particular moments from the Under 19 World Cup, so as to say. I just remember myself playing cricket, and I'm glad that I still do and enjoy myself on the field. I can tell you more about friendships, memories, some great matches here and there, but not really specific to a particular tournament.
Great. So basically, it's not just cricket. You love all sports,
Yeah,
and uh, you're crazy about football as well. And
yeah,
you have recently started a Twitter page, FPL Duo, with your friend Aditya Vatva.
yeah.
So tell us something about that.
So my phone was just beeping right now, and that was probably him only messaging me. And I'm trying really hard not to look at the far corner because there is a football game going on right now. So yeah, I mean, we just love football. We're two guys who just bond over football, and then fantasy football is a big concept. It's a huge phenomenon. You pick players based on who you think is going to perform well, and then if they do well, you get fantasy points, so as to say. So I'd say that for fantasy football managers, it's a bit like stocks for normal people. We like to guess beforehand who's going to do well and who's not going to do well, and we kind of become like our own silly pundits for that small moment of time. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's all I can say. We've just started our Twitter page, we have a few followers, and we are engaging and building a community with all the other fantasy football managers. So yeah, good fun. I mean, talking about happiness, that is something that just makes me so happy because every time the weekend comes and I have football to watch, it's just, I don't have to worry about my weekends. I'm happy then. Just leave me alone. I'm content and
No,
it's
I
all
am
good.
happy that you said that you started this page because it gives you happiness. Because I remember that question you asked me, Mom, why do you do these happiness chats? So my
Yeah,
answer is same. It gives me happiness, you know.
yeah,
So I'm glad we all are pursuing our own passions.
yeah,
Uh, so what is very interesting with you that I see, Shiv, is that personally hate social media. I mean,
yeah,
if I put a pic of yours, I get a lot of grief, you know.
yeah,
But professionally, you handle social media for your clients.
yeah,
So that's quite ironic that there's something that you hate personally, but then there's something that you
yeah,
do professionally. And I think you do a very good job. So you must be liking it as your work. So how do you handle this paradox?
um So one thing I sort of realized as I started working is that for me personally, as I said, I like playing cricket, I like fantasy football, I like playing football. So if I can't do that professionally, no kind of work is ever going to give me that kind of happiness. So I think I've been able to very well differentiate between the two. And the more I work, I realize that I'm not looking for happiness from my work. I'm looking to get good at something. And I like that feeling of self improvement. For me, it's a little bit like I see work as a bit like fitness. You don't really like it while you're doing it, but you do feel a little accomplished once it's done. So, coming to your point about me not liking social media from a personal perspective, is that because I feel I am a little, I am a private guy, so I don't like putting my life out there on social media. But having said that, if you are a sales and marketing sort of guy today, there's no way that you can do marketing and not be good at social media. You need to understand social media well. You need to understand uh, the social media metrics behind everything, why content is displayed, how it's showed, and what the intent behind these big social media giants is, that they want you spending maximum time on their platform. So while I understand it very well from a work point of view, it's my job to make sure that from my clients' content, whatever I put out, people are spending maximum time and really engaging with our content. So it is a big time paradox, and I'm not going to deny that. So yeah, I think it's just two different things for me. There's a separate work compartment, there's a separate other compartment. So
Right. So you
yeah,
have your on button and your off button. So when it comes
yes,
to your
yes, very
personal
important,
life, it goes
very
off,
important. Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you suddenly switch on. But actually, you're
yeah,
so right. I mean, nowadays I don't hear the word commerce. I only hear
yeah,
e-commerce. So that's just the way it is.
yeah.
So tell me, what makes you happy?
As I said before, good food, sports, these are the things that really make me happy in that spur of a moment. But going beyond that, I feel it's so hard to just look at happiness as one short term thing, because you it starts to become a little more complicated when you look at it from a broader perspective. Okay, how's my life, this, that, where am I placed, etc., etc., etc. Uncertainty, a lot of thoughts. So what i what I feel is that, uh, personally, whenever I feel like I'm starting to adult too much, I just go back to being a kid. And I feel like eventually we all are always looking to be that same old happy kid. So of course, while we have to adult and we got to take on responsibilities and stuff, I'd say that I prioritize my happiness above everything else. So I make sure I'm doing things that keep me happy, whether it's these little things that I do on the side that I just enjoy. I'm not really worried about anything over there. I'm just being myself, expressing myself. So, so yeah, just since you asked, movies, sports, food, what else?
I know I can add
Yeah, sure.
friends.
Yeah, of course. I mean, friends and family, of course. I thought it would be very cheesy to say family over here, because
No, no,
considering,
no. So I know, I know.
yeah, yeah, I know. But yeah, I feel it's just it's just the simple things. You don't, when you try to complicate it too much for yourself, you can get trapped in your own bubble. And more often than not, I think we're just conditioned to think more negatively than positively. So so yeah, I think for me, just keeping things really simple and being a kid, that is the best thing for me.
That is actually beautiful because, I mean, if you see babies, they'll cry and in 2 minutes they will smile and they will laugh and they are
Yeah,
happy for no reason. It's not that they've fulfilled some goal in their life. And I think from inside, we all want to go back to that happy child, which
yeah,
poor thing somewhere gets lost.
yeah. Plus also I feel, there is I was actually listening to one of my favorite stand-up comics, and he said something really interesting. He said that, we all are caught up in life and we're taking life so seriously, but eventually one day we're just going to die. So while it sounds so cliched, but I thought that statement was just so real and so woke. There was something so candid and and yet so intellectual and deep about it. So I think, like, while you're there, I mean, you'd be able to, relate to this and tell people because you've technically got a second chance at life. So I mean, while you're there, just make it count. Like, I mean, be happy, you know what I mean? Like, so if you sort of pick up the phone and ask people ki, uh, supposing if you say kya chal raha hai bhai, the typical line is cut rahi hai zindagi. So cut, I mean, kaat rahe ho to thoda khushi se kaat lo. That's my point. We all are eventually going to end up in the same place, so I don't need to get over philosophical, but yeah, I mean, that's my take on it. It's, if it sucks for everyone. You might as well find a happy way to get around it, like COVID also, for example.
Right. I'm remembering that very nice quotation. I love it. That life may not be the party we hoped it would be, but while we are here, we may as well dance.
Yeah.
So something that you're trying to tell me, and I just totally agree with you. So tell me.
But no, 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 but I'll tell you what, I also want to ask you some questions because it seems like it's going too much one way.
Okay.
uh what I wanted to ask you is that, now that you've started the happiness chat and people look at you as this very happy, positive person, do you think it's possible to be happy all the time? Is there a element of realism that you're taking out of life if you're always trying to be happy? Like, do you think that sometimes, personally, I feel that sometimes you push yourself into this corner where it's almost make believe happiness, which I cannot sometimes relate to, because it's like, I mean, if I just fractured my foot, I fractured my foot. I can't be happy at that point. I feel you can be positive. So what's your take on that? Because is there a sort of added pressure now on you, that, not sort of pressure, but you know what I'm trying to say, that people look up to you as always being smiling and happy and all that. So personally, I would not like that on me. I mean, I am not that guy who, I never liked being the prefect in school. I thought it sucked. I wanted to be the kid messing around at the back, and I didn't want to be the good guy who people look up to. So how is that for you?
Very interesting. So, if you attended the first happiness chat when I invited my doctor, my neurologist, he said the one thing that he saw and observed in me, and which he wanted to share with the people, is that you can't always be happy, but you can be positive. So, that I think is something that I really relate to. And the fact that people see me happy is because I am visible when I'm happy. You know, when I'm not happy,
Okay.
you don't see my pics, you won't be chatting with me, I won't be on WhatsApp. I take a little bit of a break. So obviously, I mean, nobody is on a euphoria all the time, so you can't always be happy. But yes, I would call myself a positive person, and I personally don't like to sulk. I've got terrible laughter lines since I was 15 years old. They're not supposed to happen at 15, but because of a constant smile, it's just my natural expression. In fact, you remember, Shiv, you always tell me in the pics that I don't smile, I look terrible. So,
Yeah,
it's just
which
one of
is
those
true.
things. Yeah, it is true. Absolutely. That's when I hate my passport photo,
Yeah.
because the guy
I
told
was just going to say we
don't
should just put
smile.
that
Oh,
down
that's
while
terrible.
we're talking. We should do an edit and just put your passport pic at the back.
No, no,
That'll
never,
be cool.
never, never. So, yeah, so that's me. I have no pressure at all. I don't take pressure, actually. That's not me. And I'm just very blessed. I feel I'm very loved. And I think all that just makes you happy. And I always like to keep doing things to make people happy. And I think happiness is sort of contagious. When you do things that make other people happy, even a small thing like sending a cake, or sending flowers, or a bottle of wine, it makes somebody happy. You make somebody smile, it bounces back. That's just the way it
Yeah.
is. So there's no pressure. I love it. And if and when I'm sulking, people don't see me. So that's why they think that every time she is visible, she's smiling and laughing. But I
Yeah.
mean, come on, guys. When I'm
Fair
chopping the
enough.
onions, I don't put my pics.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So one more thing is that as people, I feel like we always oscillate between being content and being ambitious. And often I hear you. One of your favorite things to me since I was a kid was ki जो है खुश रहो, uh, Sukh Pao. Jay just added that from the back actually. So, it's always about being content. But somewhere down the line, do you feel that in the sort of desire to be happy and content, where does one push the boundaries to be ambitious? Because ambition is not going to make you happy at that point. You're going to, you have to, there's a little bit of drive, there's a little bit more of that extra effort that you need to put in. I mean, most people are not happy when they're putting in extra effort. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. So
Extra.
where does one draw a parallel between the two? That's my
Okay,
question.
so I'll tell you where this phrase comes from. Khush raho sukh pao. It was my like Nani's favorite Ashirwad, and I just love it. So that is like blessing someone to be happy. But when you are blessing someone to be happy, it's not that you're telling the person to be complacent. So you can carry on with your ambitions and your drive and your passions and your hard work to fulfill your passions. All as an elder, what people wish for you is to be happy. If you are a driven person and if that's what makes you happy, so be it. So it's not about being content and not doing anything or being complacent. It is, find your space of happiness. If Sachin Tendulkar wanted to keep on breaking his own records and be better in every game he played, so that was happiness for him. So that's great, you know. And if someone is like sitting in the mountains in a nirvana pose, if he's happy, so be it. The idea is to be happy, whatever drives you. You've done 10 push-ups today, you want to do 20 tomorrow. That's driving you. That's what makes you happy. That's fantastic.
That's so interesting that you said that because I feel like, I mean, obviously, we're at two different ages, so as to say. So, in the next 15 to 20 years, supposing, what would make you happy then, and what makes you happy now? Do you see any difference between the two? Do you think that your perspective of happiness will change maybe after 20 years?
Well, Shiv, I really don't like to answer so much in the future tense because I feel that change is the law of nature. I mean, that is actually the only thing that's constant. But if I have to just like visualize, I would say that my priorities, I feel, might remain the same. It's always been family first.
Okay.
And I love my work. And fortunately, I'm a lawyer. I'm not an aerobic instructor. Otherwise, it would have all been over for me. So I love my work. I love writing. I love my family. So if these are the things I love right now, I think that I would be loving them then also, and they would be giving me happiness then also. Of course,
Okay.
maybe 20 years down the line, I'll have your, children to love too. So maybe that, you know, yeah. So the arena changes, but the match
Okay.
remains.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I love the way you're asking me about 10 to 15 years. It's me who should be asking you, where do you see yourself 10 to 15 years from now?
I mean, just the same thing. I think I'd have a pretty similar answer to you. I think that I wouldn't look down too far ahead. I think it's best to take it one day at a time. I have more of a self improvement kind of philosophy. So I don't look, I think even a year is too long. I think if you keep on making your tomorrow better, you'll automatically realize that where I wanted to be in any walk of life, whether it's financial, spiritual, whatever, emotional,
Did you say
if you keep
spiritual?
making,
Did you say spiritual?
for people, for people,
Ah,
I was just covering different aspects. I mean, I'd honestly say I'm still more spiritual than I'm religious. I'm not religious at all. Sorry to disappoint. I know you named me Shiv, but I'm not religious at all. I still may be a little bit more spiritual, perhaps. But what I mean is, if you try and make your tomorrow better, and if you constantly keep doing that, you are going to grow exponentially. And that is something that I think people, it's really hard to keep improving each day, because in anything, you take any little smallest of smallest discipline, because it is going to take a lot of effort and time. So I think I have, that's my philosophy, so as to say, that's my strategy. Being I mean, perhaps coming from a sports background, I think so 15, 20 years doesn't matter. Tomorrow matters more for me. What am I doing tomorrow? So yeah, but don't ask me what am I doing tomorrow. These are just things to say. Yeah, put your money where
Okay.
your mouth is. That's what they
Yeah,
say in fantasy football as well.
very true. So
Yeah.
tell me some, this is your chance, Shiv. Any advice to your parents?
Any advice to my parents? Damn, I never thought. I never thought that was coming. Advice to my parents would be no advice really. I think just be yourself. Do what do what makes you happy. I think that's one thing good about our dynamic and our relationship as parents and kids, is that we have that understanding that okay, you do what makes you happy, and we are all happy with each other being happy. So I like that live and let live kind of thing. So I would say just do whatever makes you happy. And yeah, what else? No advice really. I don't think I could. I mean, maybe if we get into more specific things like dad and how he types on the smartphone and how he takes ages and how he could just fast track things a little bit in his life and all that, those minute things I would change. But otherwise, there's no advice or anything. And I don't think kids truly are in a position to advise their parents.
I was
That's
just
pretty cocky.
just
Yeah,
being unanimous, actually, Shiv.
yeah, yeah,
You're one guy who really can't afford to advise anyone,
yeah.
everything. But when you were talking about dynamics, I remember uh, you both were sleeping in the room, and I was leaving for a holiday, and you from your sleep. No, it was Jay from his sleep. He said, "Mom, have a good time," and you said, "You don't need to tell her that. She will have a good time."
Yeah.
So I do like uh, this thing, live and let live. You want each other to be happy, and I
Yeah.
think that is the most
I
important.
mean it, I mean that more in the happiness sense, not in that sense that, oh, we are craving freedom, because I think that's something which, touchwood, I've always had. And I think now I sometimes see that even with dad, that when I'm talking to him, and sometimes he knows that beyond a point, whatever he's telling me is not really going to make so much of a difference. I think we have reached that very cool point in our relationship. I don't mean that in an arrogant or a bad way. I mean it in a very humble sort of way, and I really respect him also, that he knows that beyond a point the guy is going to pretty much do what he thinks is right for him. And I think that's really important, because you have to make your own mistakes. If people are going to keep telling you what to do, and you've lived a life according to other people's directions and other people's choices, that doesn't really go down so well with me. So yeah.
Shiv, you just brought up something very interesting. This is a sort of a complaint I have with a lot of the younger lot, is that your parents make a lot of effort to be cool with you, but sometimes do
Hmm.
you think you take this thing of being cool, not only you personally, but your generation, a bit too
Hmm.
far sometimes? I mean, parents still have to be respected. We can't be, hey bro, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So do you want to say something then? Are you trying to say something and not saying it?
No, 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 I am so vocal. I'm so vocal. But I want to
Yeah.
say, do you think
So
you guys
it
go
feels,
too far?
because it feels like you're getting somewhere and you're having a lawyer diplomatic approach around it.
I can't help it. I'm like brought up by, I can't help that. So,
Uh,
but you think you guys take it too far sometime?
I think that's very personal. Me, never. I'm a saint. not me, but I mean, others, that's other parents, other children, I feel I'm nobody to comment on other people's relationships. And because eventually relationships are down to expectations. You know what I mean? Like, as in, I know some people who, because they're so used to their moms doing everything for them when they were kids, if they see some other parents not putting in that same kind of effort when you're young and you're naive, you almost think of them as not such good parents. You know what I mean? So relationships are also set on a basis of expectations. So different people set different expectations, and of course, parents. Any parent would, of course, want to be the least they would expect is their children to respect them. So yeah, I mean, everyone has their own thing, but I'm no one to comment on the generation, so as to say. I feel our generation gets a lot of flack also. Rightly so. There are some things that are pretty messed up about us, but I think there are some things which are really, really good about us as well. So we're a mixed bag.
Like, I'm dying to know.
Like, uh, uh, I'd say challenging the norms, understanding that just because something is a tradition doesn't mean it's right. And those who challenge it in a rebellious way are just doing it from a feeling of emotion, a little bit of backlash. But I think people who understand it and look at it in a more practical way, I feel like we're always challenging the norms and we aren't afraid to express ourselves. Like, even if you look at India now as a country, I feel the youth of India, which is not, I'm not talking about the upper class society, I'm just talking about the whole country. I feel the youth of India today overall thinks quite differently. And I feel that's pretty cool, because before there was always that kind of demarcation of urban, rural, urban, rural. I think that gap overall is getting bridged. And yeah, I think there are some things which are pretty cool about us. And of course, with the pros come a lot of cons as well. So
Okay,
yeah,
I totally give it to you. Very cool, challenging the norms. I think in this also the internet and the whole social media thing, it just
yeah,
makes you all a big global community, rather
yeah,
than all these barriers that were there. So anyone knows about your love for food. In fact,
yeah,
your lean build is quite deceptive.
yeah, it is.
Let's end this on a happy note. Your favorite
Yeah.
meal.
So, on my deathbed, I want pizza and I want biryani. These are the two things for which I'm going to just tell the doctor or whoever the hell it is that I want to eat this before I die. So, these are my two favorite foods for anybody listening, anybody out there, anybody who ever wants to make me happy at any point of time, guys. Overall, shout out to just anyone and everyone. You can always get me pizza and biryani. And yeah, these are my two favorite things. Anything, I mean, there are a lot of other things, but these two are just a separate elite. These are like the Sachins of my food. There's nobody, there's no one, there's nothing coming close to this.
And
Yeah,
the menu for your birthday parties, starting from
yeah,
4 to 24
yeah,
now, hasn't
yeah.
changed. All your friends,
Hasn't changed. I don't
everything
think it will
has.
ever change because
Yeah,
it's become a joke amongst my
it's
friend
become a
circle as
joke.
well.
And
And
I personally love it.
I'm
And
very proud of it. I would not have anything else on my birthday.
yes,
So
the only thing that has changed has been the choice of beverage.
beverage, yes,
You know,
yes.
so it
No
has
one's denying that.
so amazing talking to you, Shiv.
Thanks,
Such,
man.
such a chilled out conversation, just
Yeah,
as it had to
yeah.
be with you.
And just a shout out to everyone. It's not like we're going to put this down and then we're going to immediately go and talk on a separate video call, because now I'm going to be watching football for the next 2 hours. So this is as organic and as cool as I think we could have kept it. Given the fact that people are going to watch it, I think obviously I've really behaved, and so have you.
Thank you.
So yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Great. See you soon. Be
Okay.
safe
See
and
you
until we
very
meet
soon.
again, be happy, be safe.
Yeah.
All of you.
Thanks,
Lots of
Mom.
love. Bye.
Bye.